Woo! Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you guys so much for all the love on my mom's reaction video. Those of you who follow me on Instagram would have seen us watching the reaction video together on my stories, and I could have literally filmed a reaction video of her reacting to the reaction video. She was just laughing so much and she absolutely loved the video as well. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Hey, what's poppin', what's crackin' lacking? Welcome to the family. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. For those of you who are new here, my name is Amina. I am 35 years old. My daughter Natanya is 17 years old, and she also has a channel as well, so you guys might want to check out her channel. I will put the link in the description box and you guys can go over there and hit that subscribe button too. Okay, now most of you would already know that when I was 17 I got pregnant with my daughter, and you may have already seen the story time of how I broke the news to my Nigerian mum. However, I never actually got a chance to tell you guys my labor and delivery story, so let's get into it. Although I got pregnant at 17, I actually turned 18 by the time I had given birth to my daughter. But being 18 didn't really make much difference anyway, because I was still pretty much a child who had to grow up really fast in order to raise this child that I was about to have. I think I may have already mentioned from my 17 and pregnant how I told my Nigerian mum video that the night that I told my mum that I was pregnant is the same night that I moved in with my daughter's dad and his family. So I spent the majority of my pregnancy living with my daughter's dad. It wasn't until the last couple of months of my pregnancy that I then moved back home with my mum, because by that time she had gone through the whole process of being disappointed, angry, upset. Gave her the opportunity to process her feelings and come to terms with what was happening. So by the time it was the last couple of months of my pregnancy, I think she was in a better space for me to be around her. And personally, by that time I too kind of felt like I needed my mum, or I needed to be around my mum as well. My pregnancy itself, thank God, was pretty easy. Like, I still was going out, I was still like living my life. I didn't have any like major symptoms from my pregnancy, so I wasn't having morning sickness, I wasn't having back pain, I wasn't ill, I didn't have any like really major negative symptoms from my pregnancy. I pretty much felt normal. I felt like myself. I didn't really gain much weight either. I think towards the end of my pregnancy I could just about fit into size 10 jeans. I did gain a little bit of weight in my face as well. My skin got really dark. I had one food craving, and that was spaghetti bolognese. My bump size wasn't really that huge or overbearing. Like, you couldn't really tell that I was pregnant from behind. There'll be guys that will try to move to me or try to chirp me or talk to me, and they'll be like, hey, you, come over here, let me chat to you. And then I'll turn around and they'll be like, never mind, innit? Do you need a new baby father? No? Okay, cool. If your baby needs a new dad, just shout me, innit? Just shout me. Thinking about my pregnancy, I think I was quite lucky, by the grace of God, to have a pregnancy that was really smooth. I didn't really have any difficulty. I was still running for the bus with my bump. I was very active. I was still very much a 17-year-old child, but I was just pregnant at the same time. I spent a lot of my pregnancy watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of birthing videos. There used to be this channel on TV where they would literally show women giving birth. Almost every program on this channel was about women giving birth, and I would literally be glued to that channel. Watching those birthing videos really helped me to kind of gain a visual understanding of what was going to happen by the time I was ready to go into labor and to give birth. I don't remember feeling fearful about my pregnancy or feeling scared or anxious. I think I was still very much in that childlike bubble of not really deeping what was about to happen. I think that when you're a child, you kind of just live in the moment and not being able to really see that far into the future. I kind of was just going with the flow of it. I was like, okay, well, I'm pregnant, there's a baby growing inside of me, but I don't think I fully registered the seriousness of the fact that I'm about to give birth to like a whole human being, you know? So when it came to the last 2 months of my pregnancy, I moved back home with my mom. There was still a little bit of you know, between us. But being a mum, you just have to do what you need to do for your child regardless. I think she just got to a point where she realized there's not really much that she can do. Your 17-year-old child is pregnant, she's gonna have this baby, and we just have to keep it moving. While I was back at my mum's, I was going to church with her on Sundays, and it was on one particular Sunday where I think I basically made myself go into labor. Although Nathania's due date was October the 9th, but she came on October the 6th. So this particular Sunday, which is the 5th, the day before, I was pretty much ready to pop at any moment in time. But this particular Sunday at church, like, the service was lit. When I tell you guys, yeah, if any of you go to or have ever been to an African church, you know, like a proper African cultured church where the praise and worship is lit, is a vibe, like it's a whole concert. That was the type of service it was on that particular Sunday. I don't know where the anointing came from. I don't know where the energy came from. I was just so lit. Like, I remember being in that service and I was literally just dancing. I was dancing so hard with my big belly. I was there dancing, I was shouting, I was praising God, I was jumping up and down. Even those that have danced for God before did not dance the way that I danced that Sunday. Praise the Lord!
Let me hear you scream! Your hands up, lift your hands up, let me hear you! Lift your hands up, let me hear you! Let me hear you scream!
I was gone. I was gone in the spirit. I was in the spiritual realm. Praising the Lord. It's like a supernatural joy, supernatural feeling just came over me. And I just couldn't stop praising God. I was lit in that service, okay? By the time we got home, it was probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Now, you guys know that when you go to African church, service doesn't start at 9 and finish at 11. No, the service starts at 9 and it finishes at 6 o'clock in the evening, okay? So by the time we got home, I literally had like a few hours to just chill, and then it was time for me to go to sleep. By the time the adrenaline had settled down, I realized that, rah, I'm actually tired. Like, all this jumping around that I was doing during the service, like, I'm actually knackered. I think it was probably around 10 o'clock I decided that, yeah, I'm going to sleep. Like, I'm too tired. I went to bed that evening, and then I think it was around 11 o'clock at night, I suddenly got this like really sharp pain in my stomach, and it literally woke me up out of my sleep. And I was like, wow, what is that? Initially I thought it was Braxton Hicks contractions because I've been having those already, but for some reason this was a different type of pain, because usually when you get Braxton Hicks contractions, they're not really painful, they just feel uncomfortable and your stomach goes really tight for like a few seconds and then it releases. But this pain that woke me up out of my sleep, I remember thinking to myself, that's weird. But at the same time, because I was so tired, I kind of tried to just like ignore it and go back to sleep. And then I realized that after a while the pain came back again. So I woke up again and I was like, nah, like this doesn't feel like Braxton Hicks contractions. Like, what is this? So I thought, let me go and ask my mum, because I'm not sure what's happening here. I go to my mum's room, I wake her up and I'm like, Mom, I'm feeling this like pain in my stomach. I don't know what it is. Imagine my mum turns around and says to me, go and put rub on it. Get rub from the cupboard and put rub on it. And then maybe wash the plate to take your mind off the pain and go back to sleep. Okay? Go back to sleep. You'll be okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's because you are jumping up and down in the church. You are jumping up and down in the church, praising the Lord. So you are feeling the pain now. Go and put rub on it. You'll be okay. Go back to sleep. Guys, I literally went and got rub. My Africans know about rub. It's basically like Vicks. And it's also literally the cure for every single type of ailment you could ever have. You could break your leg, as in like break your leg in two. And an African person will tell you to go and put rub on it to fix the problem. Rub is basically the solution to every kind of issue you might ever have in life. I went to go and get rub, literally put it on my stomach in the areas where I thought the pain was coming from, and then I went back to my room and tried to go back to sleep, because all now I'm still tired. And then lo and behold, about an hour goes by, it's now past midnight, suddenly woken up out of my sleep yet again with this pain in my stomach. So I get up yet again and I'm like, no, like something is not right. Like I'm feeling pain in my stomach and I can't sleep and it's coming and going. So for the second time I go to my mum's room and I wake her up again. Mum, sorry to wake you up again, but something is not right. The pain is still coming back. Mum goes to me, okay, It's coming and it's going. It's going and it's coming. Okay, oh yeah, let's go to the hospital. So we get in the car and we make our way to the hospital. My mum basically tells the midwives that I'm having pain in my stomach, and they ask her when is my due date. They put me in a ward where there was like other women who were also in labor, and they checked me, and when they checked me they realized that I was actually already 2 centimeters dilated. In my mind I'm like, rah, okay, so I'm actually in labor. But I was a bit confused because my water hadn't broken. They left me and my mum in the ward. While I was in my little cubicle on this ward, the pain was still coming and going, but it wasn't like really frequent. I think it was like every 30 minutes or so, or more than that, I would get like the sharp pain. But I was like still trying to like get some sleep, because now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I still hadn't really slept properly. So here's me trying to sleep through my labor and firm the pain that I was having from my contractions. But there was one particular point where I had the strongest urge to poo. I don't know where this urge came from, yeah, but I remember having the strongest urge to poo. I've never felt like I needed to poo as much as I did in that moment on that day. Everything inside of me was pushing downwards. So I basically called one of the midwives to tell her that I need to poo, like where's the toilet. I have a very strong urge to poo. And then the midwife turns around and says to me, you want to poo? You want to poo? Are you sure that's what you want to do? Because I can't let you poo. You can do a wee, but you can't poo. When you wee, don't force the wee out, and definitely don't try and poo. Do not try and poo, babe. I'm telling ya, do not try and poo. I was so confused. Why is this woman telling me that I can't poo? Not knowing the pushing sensation that I was feeling was actually Netanya moving to like the lower regions of my uterus or whatever it was. My body getting ready to push Netanya out. But obviously I can't push now because I'm only 2 centimeters dilated. So if I was to try and push, I could put Netanya under distress. Me and my little 18-year-old self didn't know that that was what was happening. I just felt like I needed to do a poo. The way the midwife was telling me that I can't poo, I was like, well, okay, fine, I won't poo then. Fine, I'll just keep the poo inside me then, innit? For the next couple of hours, I'm just there in this ward trying to sleep through my contractions. It's getting to like early hours of the next day. I'd already told my daughter's dad that I was in labor. My mum had contacted him and his mom, so they both made their way to the hospital that morning. I think it was around 10 o'clock in the morning that the midwives then came back to check me again, and by this time I was about 6 centimeters dilated. So they moved me onto the delivery ward. My mum, my baby daddy, and my baby daddy's mom all in the room with me. The last time all 4 of us were in the same room together, I was telling my mum that I was pregnant, and 9 months later all 4 of us are in the same room together again, waiting for me to give birth to the child. By now my contractions were so painful. There was no way that I was gonna sleep through it at this point. I'd literally spent the whole night into the next day just firming the pain of these contractions. I was starting to feel like maybe I might need something because this pain is actually getting a lot. All now my water still hadn't broken, and the midwives had discussed that they might have to break my water for me. I can't remember how many centimeters dilated I was, but they waited a little while before they then went in and decided to break my water for me. When they broke my water, the pain that I felt, the pain, it's not even pain, it's the pain that I felt flow through my body after they broke my water. Hey, guys, I can't even describe the pain. It's pain that you've never ever experienced, never ever felt. The contractions were so painful, yeah, I didn't even know what to do with myself. Changing positions on the bed, getting up, my legs gave way, get back onto the bed again, and then all of a sudden I was craving ice. I had a really strong craving to eat ice. I need ice. Can someone give me ice? I want to eat ice right now. Can someone give me some ice? I need ice. I need ice. The midwives came and brought me some ice. I was chewing it, and I was like, because the midwives could see that I was actually like really starting to feel the contractions, they were like, okay, cool, let's give you some gas and air. When I had that gas and air, I was gone. My body was in that delivery ward, but my entire soul was floating around the room. I was high as a kite. It really did help to relieve the pain of my contractions, but at the same time I hadn't really eaten properly. Imagine, from Sunday night, it's now Monday afternoon, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I also hadn't slept slept and I was jumping up and down doing acrobatics in the service the day before. I'm already a lightweight, only half a cocktail and I'm finished, okay? So imagine me just inhaling all of this gas and air and I'm finished. Like, I'm literally so high. It was now getting to a point where it was time for me to start pushing. The way that I was so gone, I can barely even like remember what the hell was going on in the room at the time. Like, I was no longer in the room. I was physically there, but I wasn't there. I was discombobulated. The contractions were coming thick and fast. At one point, I felt like I needed to do a poo again. Everyone in the room was getting on my nerves. I had my Jamaican daughter's dad and his mum trying to comfort me and calm me down. And my African mum also putting her 2 pence in as well. All I'm hearing is bare accents in the room. You can't do it, Amina. You're alright. You're okay, Amina. Just breathe. Just breathe, Amina. My daughter's dad was like, come on, me know you can't do it. Me know. Me know. Me know. Don't worry. Just breathe, babes, breathe. And I'm just there like, don't touch me, just don't touch me. I'm breathing, I'm trying to breathe. Everyone in the room was irritating me and everything everyone was saying was irritating me. It now got to a point where it was time for me to push. My memory of this part of my labor is such a blur. There was like 2 or 3 midwives in the room. I'm there on the bed trying to listen to the instructions that the midwives were telling me. I think because they knew that I was young, they really made an effort to kind of guide me through it and tell me what to do and what not to do, when to push and how to push. I'm just there like just following their instructions because I literally had no clue what the hell was going on. And the midwife was like, all right darling, it's time to push. I want you to really give me a nice good push down as hard as you can. 1 2 3 push. Next minute I know I done pooed myself. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Why am I pooing myself right now? One of the other midwives with the dressing that was on the bed, she just literally just scooped up my poo and took it away. And then at one point while I was pushing, I wanted to vomit. And the midwife basically quickly brought a pan and literally was like, bleh. And then they took that away as well. All this pushing that I'm doing, everything is leaving my body apart from this baby. When is the actual baby, the whole reason why I'm pushing, gonna come out? After pushing for a while, it got to a point where the midwives realized that Natanya's head was actually stuck in the opening of my fanny. Like, they could see her head, but they could see that she wasn't really gonna completely like fit through. And my mum was like, keep your leg wide open, the head is there, do not mess up this baby's head shape. Keep your leg wide open, don't close your leg, don't squash it. The midwives decided that they were gonna have to like cut me in order to create a larger opening for her head to come through. I actually saw the midwife holding scissors. Like, this woman was gonna cut me with scissors, like as if I'm paper. Is this what they do? Is this what happens? You just cut people with scissors? Like, what the hell? Out of nowhere, I had this really strong urge to push. Out of all the pushing that I was doing before, I felt like this push was something different. So I said to the midwife that I want to push. I could feel in my body that I needed to push. You feel like pushing? I was like, yeah, I feel like pushing. I want to push. I don't think I even waited for the midwife to give me the go ahead to push. I was like, the strength of God, Angel Gabriel, the Holy Spirit, all my ancestors literally fell through my whole body and I pushed so hard. Next minute I know I could actually feel Natanya's body just like sliding through and coming out. I was still very much out of it, but I kind of was listening out to hear her cry, but I couldn't hear her cry. So I was saying to one of the midwives, like, why is she not crying? Why is she not crying? Is she okay? Is she okay? Apparently she had come out sleeping, like she was actually asleep as she was coming out. Imagine I'm the one that's been trying to sleep for the last almost 24 hours. Meanwhile, my baby's the one that's sleeping through the whole labor process and coming out still asleep. So I think they basically had to like wake her up and then she started crying. I remember like looking down on my chest and seeing this little human just being placed on my chest. One of the other midwives basically explained to me that I've torn a little bit, so they're gonna have to stitch me up. They just went straight in with the needle and thread. They literally started like stitching me up without any kind of numbing process or nothing. Like, I haven't had a chance to like even breathe or even collect myself together, but obviously I understood that they needed to like do it straight away. Also, my daughter's dad got a chance to cut the umbilical cord as well because I was still so high from the gas and air. The other kind of vague thing that I remember is being in a wheelchair and being wheeled down the corridor of the hospital. It's all kind of like really blurry. The next thing I remember after that that is waking up and looking over and seeing this little cubicle next to my bed. What had happened was they had basically wheeled me onto the ward and I literally passed out. Like, I fell asleep. I don't even know how long I was asleep for. And just as I was about to like sit up from the bed, I just see my mum walking in with Netanya in her hand. Oh, you're woken up, eh? Okay, are you okay? Don't worry, I bathed her. I've done everything. Don't worry. This woman had literally bathed Netanya already, cleaned her up, put on one of the cute little baby outfits that I brought with me. Like, my mum had done everything for me. I literally woke up and my baby was like clean, bathed. I don't think I really deeped that. Like, I'm actually a mum. I actually have a whole baby. Like, I've just pushed out a whole human being and she's right there. Like, she's there. I honestly don't know how I got through that whole experience, being a young 18-year-old, practically a child myself. Thinking about my labor and delivery experience now is only by the grace of God. Being 35 now and seeing that so many women, especially black women, have really, really tough pregnancies and sometimes very sad and traumatic labor and delivery stories. Like, honestly, it's only by the grace of God that I was able to go through that experience and be okay and have my daughter be healthy and fine at the end of it, because I was very much clueless. I got pregnant at 17, no idea what was going to happen during my labor, what it was going to be like to be able to give birth to a child. These were all things that I was never ever prepared for and was never ever going to be prepared for at such a young age. I was only able to get through all of it by the grace of God. You know, when you look back on certain experiences of your life and you can see that the only way that you could have gotten through that experience is because of God. He was very much present. He was very much there with me, even when I had no idea. I'm just super grateful. And obviously, thank God for my mum. To think that she was the one that was literally losing her mind when I told her that I was pregnant. And here she is, literally doing everything that she can to help me and support me through this new life as a mum. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my story time of my labor and delivery as a teenager. It's so weird that I'm telling this story now. My daughter's gonna be 18 next year. Usually when you go on YouTube and someone's telling their labor and delivery story, the baby's literally just born. But obviously at the time that I was having my daughter, social media didn't even exist, let alone YouTube. So yeah, you guys are getting this story time 17 years late, but it's all good. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.